Hey everybody, I'm Matthew Msingati, the designer and developer. This is my YouTube channel, Coded Design, where I teach coding and user interface design. This is the last video on CSS theory. So in this video, I'm going to teach you inspecting. As you get into web front end and web design and development, inspecting is the most important thing, or use it as a tool that will help you to understand what is happening in your HTML or in your web page. What is inspecting? Let's say we want to know the styles that has been applied, let's say, to this element. So what you do when you are inspecting, you right click and click inspect. So we want more details, or we want to see the code, but the code of a particular element. So what you will do, you will just go to your web browser and inspect. When do you use inspect? Let's say you are coding a website, you are setting a certain element to a background of red, and for some reason it's not happening. No matter what you can do, you are refreshing, it's not happening. So what you will do, you will go to that element and click and inspect and try to see what's going on, what is going on in the HTML structure also, and CSS. So obviously, as you can see that this element, this is the class of this element. Let me just wait for my browser to refresh. I think my computer is a bit slow, my apologies about that. As you can see that this is a class, and this class is ytd moving thumbnail render sorry about that. This is not a class, I'm sorry about that, my mistake. This is this class style copy. As you can see in the HTML tag, this is how you show a class. My apologies about that. But what I wanted to show you is that when you are inspecting something, you just right click and click inspect. Yeah, okay, now I see what is the problem. Number one, I think my computer is a bit slow, so it's not performing the way I would like it to. But the only thing that I can do, I've got a tool. I'm just going to be patient and relax and take time so that I can clearly explain this to you. Okay, now I think it has it's done doing its own thing. So let's go back to where we were. If you might want to know more about this item, as you can see that this is an image, here is an image tag, and here is the style. These are the styles. So if you want to see more of what's going on in this image, here is it. As you can see in this image, okay, let me just expand this so that it can be more visible. My apologies for my let me sketch this also. My apologies for my slow laptop. Okay, so as you can see that here are the links that are embedded in this image. Obviously now we've highlighted another one. So let's say, you remember before we highlighted this one, but let's say we were inspecting this one, so you will click and just inspect, and that's it. As you can see, it has highlighted this one. So if you want to know what's going on with the CSS style, you will go here. Okay, you will come here. Okay, you will go here. As you can see, the background is transparent. Let's just try to change things here and see what is going to happen. What we have already learned about now, it's the display. So I talked to you about, I've mentioned a display of none. So what we are going to do, we're just gonna check this image, inspect this image, inspect it, and once we find it, this element, once we find this element, we are going to set the display property of this element to none. Okay, this is a label, it's fine. Let's just set whatever element that we have highlighted, because I can see that my computer is not doing exactly what I want. So I need to have some tricks, I need to improvise. Okay, So I'm improvising. I'm just going to type display. The spelling and syntax is very important. None. Let's see what will disappear. Okay, inspector style. Okay, let's just click here and see. Nothing disappears. Okay, let me just type again. Overlay style, scope. Okay, let's just be sure what we are trying to change. Okay, come here again, come here again. Okay, I think my computer is sabotaging me, but that is real life. In real life, things don't always go according to the way you want. The best thing you can do, you can just control your own mind and your own thought process. Just chill and do what you want to do. What I'm going to do, whatever that I have selected, whatever element that I've selected, I believe is that label job without school. I want to display it none. Okay, there are two things involved. It's either it's going to disappear or it might not disappear. Okay, as you can see, it didn't disappear. That's fine. Let's say display none and try to tell CSS that it must force things to happen, and say this rule is important, because it might happen that the reason why this rule is not taking an effect. Also, we will talk about this in the course. Please do me a favor and subscribe so that you can be notified when I'm in a video that talks in deep dives on this matter. So when we displayed none on the first time, nothing happened, because as I've said in the introduction that we're going to talk about CSS as it relates to family issues. Who owns who is the parent, who is the children. Obviously, I'm still going to talk about that in the upcoming videos, but this is a certain portion about that element, or about that behavior of CSS, the parent and the child and the rules. So what I'm doing here by typing this important, I'm telling CSS that please reinforce that this must happen. Bypass all other rules and make this a priority. That's why it only takes place when I've got this important here. So where were we? We were on inspecting. So inspecting, it's more like debugging. It's more like a certain way of troubleshooting. When you see things that you really don't understand with your overall behavior of your HTML elements, they are not doing what you want them to do. Obviously, you go here and click inspect and then do whatever you want. Obviously, this is the last video on theory. This was just a theory to bring things into perspective, because once we get into coding, you might ask yourself, why now automatically this div behave this way? Why the things are behaving this way? So at least I've given you some sort of a foundation, a tour to CSS as it relates to HTML. Most people, the reason why they don't get the essence of CSS or any language in general, it's because of they are learning the language independently. They are learning the language in isolation. I can't just give you practical about CSS without mentioning a thing or two about HTML and also JavaScript. Otherwise, I'm Matthew Msingati, the designer and developer. If you feel like this video has added value in your overall understanding of CSS, please do me a favor and subscribe. See you on the next one.